Alright, I'm back at it again. This presentation is about the ecosystem around North Carolina, more specifically the Research Triangle Park. The name of this is Retaining the Entrepreneur Spirit. And why is that? It's because I feel like in North Carolina we have this big problem of educating our students in North Carolina, but then our students deciding to flee North Carolina because of the southern culture that I'll explain a little bit about in a minute. But first things first, what even is an ecosystem? It is an interconnected system of networks that come together to make one big coherent thing. What that coherent thing is an ecosystem. So the foundation for businesses to exist, like what that necessitates, and what are the elements that go into that. To start off giving a little bit about the culture of North Carolina, it is kind of right here, right in this split of industrial economy versus an agricultural economy, which I think still has implications on a lot of the way that the South functions versus the North. I always joke with my friends that are from the North versus my friends from the South, and I always say that the South is like always 5 years behind the North. So when the North, was industrializing, the South was still, using a lot of agricultural methods, which means that it seems that technology in the South is also still sort of catching up to the technology of the North, which is why I'm going to talk about what is called the Research Triangle Park, which I think is the kind of big initiative that North Carolina at least is doing to stay technologically advanced and not be 5 years behind the North in technology. Just a little overview about this park. So the ATP is great, right? It's a great park. It consists of like a few buildings. This park, however, is a massive area that consists of 200 companies, about 50,000 workers, and 10,000 contractors. And it's one of the largest research parks in the entire world. So this isn't, this small, like, few buildings. These are 3 cities that form an isosceles triangle, to which is now known as a big park. In terms of corporation and business infrastructures in which this park consists of, it's dominated by IBM, Bank of America, and R.J. Reynolds, who is a tobacco company that owns like Camel, Winston, Salem cigarettes, and they also own Paul and I School. I'll talk about a little bit about that later. The reason this is so, in terms of education, you have 3 really good schools within this area. You have Duke University, which is okay. You have UNC Chapel Hill, which is like, approaching. And then you got Wake Forest. You got Wake Forest. $296 million in research and development in these regions' university each year alone. Usually these universities focus on things like pharmaceuticals, microelectronics, technology, whatever. which is the research that predominantly dominates these institutions. In terms of the government is very friendly to businesses in this park. They are friendly through tax incentives. So they give companies tax incentives to like come and to start to develop here. And most of the government is concerned with technological advancement. So in terms of entrepreneurs within this region, there are about 1,000 startups according to Biz Journal in 2016. About 602 of these 1,000 startups are focused in technology, and then the remainder of these startups are focused in life sciences. So in this park, predominantly entrepreneurs are concerned with either life sciences or technology, and that seems to be pretty consistent given that within the large amount of money that is devoted to research and development in this region, most of it goes to things, like microelectronics and, technological things. So there seems to be a direct correlation between what is being funded by universities and then what people go on to then start as businesses in this region. And that also is consistent with the fact that ever since the 50s, this region has been focused on developing technology. And like I said, I think that is because of the fact that we always say that the South is 5 years behind in technology, or just 5 years behind in like everything. So why the Triangle Park? Well, there are excellent schools, the best being Wake Forest, as I just said before. There's a rich, long history of, or heritage of technology that stems back from the '50s when, local governors were like, look, we're committed to technology. We want to make sure that we get this park off of the ground. There's a high quality of life. To live there, it's not super expensive. It's not like New York or like LA where there's like a high cost of living. But the good thing is the salary is nice. So you're getting a big salary, but you're not, paying a bajillion dollars just to live. There are friendly people. There's this thing called Southern hospitality that I can, vouch for and say it's real, where Southern people are just pretty nice, overly nice sometimes. And it's employer friendly. That manifests itself, like I said before, in terms of tax incentives and just the overall incentives that they give people to come here. So what is next? This is a picture of people running away from something. I don't know what they're running from, but that's exactly the point, because I feel like, as I said before, you have these people getting educated at Duke University, at NC Chapel Hill, at Wake Forest University, but it's like they don't plan to stay in North Carolina. They go there because there are 3 really good schools there. They get educated there, and then they're like, I'm going to take my knowledge to, there's a sort of, I guess, brain draining for real, right? Like they're like, we're going to go back to either our hometowns, or we're going to go to California or Silicon Valley. What's next is trying to get people motivated to stay within the Research Triangular Park and to develop there and to start their own companies there. So through this program, I like to connect the ecosystem of Israel, specifically Beersheba, to that of the Research Triangular Park, so that we can really focus on how Beersheba is able to retain its students and retain its intellectuals, and not just allow for people to be educated there and then flee and go to their respective hometowns. And that's all. Thank you.